This is a game that is great for creating a very engaging gameplay loop because everything, for the most part, is pretty dang fun. It's got these little mini games for you to do, and when they start becoming tedious, you can then actually go through and start automating those things with workers. The gameplay is just so addicting, and I feel like I'm not the only one who is addicted to this game right now. I think it's honestly one of the best-selling games on Steam with more players than like GTA and Monster Hunter and stuff, so like it is definitely worth a look. So let's just get into it. You can see we got our little operation here. This is for methamphetamine. I have a chemist who is currently going through and doing some of the tedious tasks, but let's start more basic than that. When you start off the game, you start off with a few plans, and you have to go through a bunch of tedious little mini games to add soil to your pots, to add water to them, to add fertilizers, to plant your seeds. Everything takes time to do. And originally you get little grow tents that are cheap, but you can upgrade to these little pieces of scaffolding here, I forget what they're called, and then add grow lights. And each tier allows you to grow the plants a little bit quicker. You can upgrade your pots. You can get these little machines here, which are wonderful because they allow you to automate the mini games for pouring soil and water. You just have to flick a little valve. You don't have to add water to the sprinklers, but you do have to add soil to the dispensers, but it saves a lot of work. After that, what becomes your main issue is that the fertilizing and the seed planting cannot be automated just through machines. You have to hire people. But luckily, doing this is actually really intuitive. You go to the fixer once you unlock it in the warehouse, and you can start hiring workers to do these tasks for you. Use the clipboard to assign the worker to up to 8 pots for botanists. You can choose what seeds need to be planted and what fertilizers you want to do. Early game, because the quality is not important for your customers, I did both the fertilizer just to get it to a standard quality, and then the red fertilizer, which is called PGR, and this will just increase the yield from 12 buds per plant to 16. Currently, my operation is at a place where I honestly don't need that much quantity anymore, so I've just been scaling up to quality with a little bit less yield. Then, what you find after you kind of move on is you have these little packing mini games. And first, you probably start with baggies, selling in lower quantities. You can either move a single piece with left clicking or right click to move multiple, which is great for jars. Your next upgrade is the Mark II packing station. And this is wonderful. It really does make things a lot easier. But, you know, again, once you start doing this enough time, the minigame starts to become tedious, and you want to automate that as well. So this is where your next worker comes in. I believe they're called a handler. And handlers can do multiple things. They can be assigned to multiple stations, like the packing station, but they can also be used to transfer routes for shelves. So, for example, in my current setup, I have my shelf that my botanist is taking supplies from, but I have a second shelf that I kind of use to feed supplies into the first shelf. So my handler moves the extra supplies to keep my main supply shelf full at all times, and then I'm responsible for filling this second shelf here. I believe there will be loading bays in the future. Maybe that's something I unlock. Maybe it's something I don't know how to use yet, where I can get supplies delivered. That would be very nice. Another station that I have automated is I take the output from the pots when they are harvested from the botanist, added to this shelf, and I have the handler take the raw buds, put them into the packing station, and then I have the output from the packing station being put on this shelf. This is all managed through the clipboard, so when you go to your handler, you just press manage, and then if I wanted to assign a packing station, you just click on it for the machines, and then assign a machine to use. You can just click on that. The machines can also be managed through the clipboard. You just click, like, for example, the destination and the shelf you wanted to go through. You can manage pots as well. You can choose the seeds, the fertilizers, but what's also wonderful is if you just click on the pots, you can manage multiple at once. You can see I would be managing all 8 pots, and I could select the destination to all go to this shelf. So for assigning routes as well, so for a packing station, what I do is I assign it so that, I'll just go to Brandon here, add a new route. Because the packing station needs buds and jars, I supply this shelf with jars, and then I just choose this route to here. Since I already have done this, I'm just going to remove that. But the routes are very handy for kind of automating supplies. There are problems with the mover as well, because if you're jarring stuff and you get not enough to supply it, like you have 4 raw buds stuck in here, the whole operation will stop and you need to take out that product so that the handler can actually continue to take stacks of 20 and start to jar them up. It kind of sucks, honestly, that I find that quite often that this kind of gets backlogged. Right now I got enough product where it's actually not an issue. But yeah, it's suboptimal, honestly, for automating, but the game developers have put a lot of love into this game, and it's still pretty early access, so honestly, it deserves a lot of love for this game. It is honestly fantastic. But as you can see, I also have a chemist, and he is responsible for 3 machines. I wish it was 4, because usually these chemistry stations and the lab ovens kind of go hand in hand. But since he can only do 3, he takes care of this lab oven, and then I do this one. So usually I'm a bit behind, because I'm kind of out and about doing grocery runs for supplies, and also doing a bit of selling. But it's usually not too much work for me to kind of catch up whenever I'm around. I don't mix as much as I should. I believe it would probably be important for increasing the addictiveness of your product. I'm definitely going to try to get into that more. Unfortunately, because this game is so new, there's not a lot of resources online, which is kind of another one of the reasons that I am doing this video. But I got a little nice operation going. This is not always how it was. You start off in a small motel room, and then eventually, for I believe $800, once you kind of start to move up, you can move out of that really cramped motel room and buy the sweatshop. So the sweatshop is definitely an upgrade from your first little motel room. It actually has some space, but it's not really that large either. So this bungalow is kind of where you'll be sitting for a while once you reach this point. It's rather cheap at $6,000, honestly, so I would definitely suggest, you know, getting it as soon as you can, and as long as you have enough seed money to sustain your current operations as well. You don't want to jump too soon, or else you might actually, you know, run out of money to supply your current operations, and that's not good either. One thing that I do not have in my building is a person for garbage, because I just decided that this is a pretty good setup, a really good use of space, and I don't think I can really fit a bed in here super easily. So I just kind of do that myself. Players at the very beginning will probably try and use garbage cans. This is suboptimal, honestly. The best way to do it is to buy one of these trash grabbers when they're available. Take all your garbage, pour it into a corner, and then just use the bag itself to collect all of it. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but it really beats just kind of trying to grab stuff one by one at the very beginning of the game. And then also trying to put it in the garbage can even from this little grabber. It works, don't get me wrong, but when you bag stuff just straight off the floor, you have no limit to how much you can do at one time, honestly. And that's a big thing. The garbage can fills up quite quickly, and then you have to do it millions of times. I don't have a lot of garbage here, but you can see with all the stuff in the corner, you can just kind of get it within that little circle on the floor, and there you go. I don't know if there are any hard limits to how much you can bag, but it is significantly more than you could do otherwise. So normally I just throw this out to the forest because I'm kind of past this point. You can recycle your garbage, and when you do this garbage bag trick, usually it's worth a significant amount. So early game, this can help you get quite a bit of money back. I've been getting up to like $120 from one garbage can, so it really does help.